Hoo-yah, Navy! Hoo-yah, Navy! Hoo-yah, Navy!
Hoo-yah, Navy, indeed. Yes! Oh, really gets you fired up. Jumping on your breaking news segment, 250th Navy celebration. And I love celebrating the Navy. What I don't love is our president getting up there and trying to make this celebration all about himself. Let me show you some examples of that throughout this off-the-rails speech. Unlike his speech in front of the high-ranking military leaders, there was a lot more energy. There was a couple parts where he tried to kind of get them to respond to him trashing, like Obama, for example, and they weren't playing along. But there was a lot more cheering. Kind of unfortunate based on some of the stuff that he was saying. Let's start with this.
I don't know. Would you ever want to, we won World War I. We won World War II. We won everything in between. We won everything before. And all of a sudden they decide to change the name. They weren't woke then too, Woke is a long-term word. I said, what do you think about changing it to the Department of War? He said, I love it, sir. And that was about the end of it, right? That was the end of it. Thank you, Pete. Great job. He's a great leader.
You've done just a great job. You changed the name. Good on you. What bravery. He did get just since he mentioned Hegseth, I saw this clip, he got rowdy with the Naval Academy football team after they won against Air Force, which is great. Go Navy, but... Not the first time he's been drenched in that liquid. No, I'm kidding. It's a joke. Not really. We don't make jokes about such things. Then Trump, I can't even exactly see if you can track what he's saying. He's saying he warned a year ago, but a year before 9/11, that we should look out for Osama bin Laden.
I don't want to be politically correct anymore. And history will never forget that it was the SEALs who stormed the compound at Osama bin Laden and put a bullet in his head. Remember that? And please remember, I wrote about Osama bin Laden.
Wait. This is everything you need to know about Trump. He's in front of brave service members, honoring 250 years of the U.S. Navy, and then is telling a specific story, and within 15 seconds of telling the story, he finds a way to make it about himself. The operation, yeah, all right, sure, the SEALs did it, whatever, but what about me? But then he's like, I guess he wasn't president when it happened, and he doesn't want to give Obama that. So then he just loops it back, as you're about to hear, to him with a master prediction.
The compound at Osama bin Laden and put a bullet in his head. Remember that? And please remember, I wrote about Osama bin Laden exactly 1 year ago, 1 year before he blew up the World Trade Center. And I said, you got to watch Osama bin Laden. And the fake news would never let me get away with that statement unless it was true. But I said 1 year before to Pete Hegseth. I said 1 year before. Where's Pete?
So already he says 1 year ago. Maybe that's a slip up because that doesn't make sense. A year ago? But then he goes 1 year before. But then he goes, I told Pete Hegseth. Now, of course, he's trying to say, I told Pete Hegseth this story about how 1 year before. But it sounds like now, did you know Pete Hegseth back that long ago?
In the book, I wrote, whatever the hell the title, I can't tell you. But I can tell you there's a page in there devoted to the fact that I saw somebody named Osama bin Laden, and I didn't like it, and you got to take care of him. And they didn't do it. A year later, he blew up the World Trade Center, so... got to take a little credit because nobody else is going to give it to me. You know the old story? They don't give you credit, just take it yourself. And it was the U.S. Navy that dumped his wretched corpse off the decks of the Carl Vinson to sink into the dark abyss.
The jumping on and off of the teleprompter is always really disorienting.
You know, I do the weave.
Yeah, I guess so. You got to take credit. Okay. I saw this guy at Osama. I said, we got to look out for Osama. So then this guy Obama was running for president. I said, really suspicious. Obama, Osama, Obama, Osama. I don't like it. Okay. Speaking of Obama, he then brings up Obama. And this is the part where the crowd, I am grateful, does not take his... So he was trying to get them to boo Obama.
A man that everybody loves. He was my doctor in the White House, and I got to know him very well. He was also the doctor for Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And he was the doctor for a man named Bush. And at a press conference, they asked him, who's in the best shape? Who's the healthiest? Who's the strongest? Who's the best physical specimen of the three? He said, that's easy. President Donald Trump. And I said, I love this guy.
I know he's their commander-in-chief technically. Why are we cheering? So, I'm fine with the hoo-yah to Melania. I'm fine doing that. Okay, that's fine. But what are we cheering for? It's like a pity cheer? Who in that crowd believes Trump is in better physical shape than Obama? Who actually believes that in their heart of hearts? I don't have to do the side-by-side comparison again. You know. Strange. 250th celebration of the Navy. And he's talking about how his body's better. While we continue to do this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate this show. I appreciate all of you.
250 years. So we're celebrating 250. I almost thought I wouldn't get to do that because I was president in 2016.
He was not. Obama was president in 2016. He was elected president in 2016.
And then they rigged the election on me.
But then you won.
And then we caught him, didn't we? We caught him. But, you know, we had to run it again. I ran it again, and I got 250, and I got the World Cup, and I got the Olympics. Can you believe all of it?
Ugh. Now, obviously, there were parts where he's doing the normal honorary stuff, but we listened to it out loud. A lot of it was this. I mean, he had his teleprompter, and that part was... What was written on there had more that was directed at the people he's supposed to be speaking to. But every time it went off of it, it wasn't to further throw praise on them or honor their service. It was just making it about himself than this.
The man in history, I don't like to talk about it too much now. You know, they've been a nice ally. But anybody from Japan here right now? We'll get off the subject immediately. But think of it. Sent more tonnage to the bottom of the sea, one after one.
Okay. I don't really know what to add to that one. Let's see. He talked about how many people in the crowd have been loyal to him all the way. And that's the really, you kind of have the more satirical parts of, oh, this is so absurd. He's talking about his body. But the underlying scary part, he is trying to cultivate this environment of loyalty to him. And Hegseth, just recently at that speech to the top military leaders, was saying we serve at the pleasure of the president, which is literally not true. And that's the environment they're trying to cultivate. And then leveraging that to say your duty is to fight the enemy from within. And I do have enough trust and belief in our service members that if it came to a catastrophic juncture, they would be more loyal to the Constitution than Trump. But man, he's really trying to lead into that and saying stuff like this at a speech in front of Navy sailors. What is the relevance to them of this statement?
But we have to take care of this little gnat that's on our shoulder called the Democrats. They want to give all of our money to illegal aliens that pour into the country. And, you know, I have a bigger heart than they do. But the problem is when you do that, they come in by the millions. Everybody.
So obviously we fact-checked that a bunch of times, and it is not true. And then Trump was on the USS George H.W. Bush and was very creative when he got onto the radio to say something to the sailors aboard. Ready?
Everybody knows this is, as you know, Navy 1, by the way, for the day. Only for the day. But for one day, it's Navy 1. Like Air Force 1, this is Navy 1. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Riveting stuff. Riveting stuff. You could imagine such a cool speech. This is your commander-in-chief. Today we honor, and then and it's all over the radio. It's so cool. You know, this is Navy 1. Today it's Navy 1, because Navy 1. That's good. So not good. share your thoughts in the comments.